welcome to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to State Representative Karen Camper about the National Black Caucus of State Legislators 37th Annual Conference that was held last week right here in Memphis at the Peabody Hotel. And I think that is Representative Camper right there. Let me check the phone line. Dialogue with Deidre.
Deidre, Representative Camper, how are you?
Hey, Representative Camper, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It is funny that I was just opening up the show and I told them that we would be talking to you.
Oh, great.
So let's just go ahead and get this show started. I was mentioning to our viewers that last week we had a great week with your organization, the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. Representative Camper, tell us a little bit about what happened last week at the Peabody Hotel.
Thank you for the opportunity. Really, it was a very, very well-attended, successful conference for NBCSL. Many of the viewers probably know that Lois was a founding member of this organization, and so this year the conference came to Memphis, and it kicked off with a youth congress, which was the most phenomenal part as far as I'm concerned, where we brought together about 300 youth from, the city of Memphis, from Hardeman County, Lauderdale County, from all over the West.
And I think we have some pictures too.
And had a mock legislative session, and it was just awesome. And we had a lunch with them where C.C. Winans came and gave them some very good encouraging words. And so we kicked it off in grand style as far as I'm concerned. And from what I've heard from the incoming chair of the youth congress, youth committee, he said it's the best ever in 37 years. So we really did give a lasting impression. And from there we went on and we had our policy sessions and things like that. But we had a tribute to music, for one thing, here in Memphis, because our theme this year was Come to Tennessee, We're Singing Your Song. So we had a corporate roundtable luncheon where we recognized people. We had Nation Builder Awards. We recognized our very own David Porter and one of the young people here from Memphis for
wonderful
all the great things that we're doing. So it was just a wonderful week.
And a big part of the reason why your organization was founded and you come together every year for this annual session is to talk about potential policy issues that you and other elected representatives from across the country, the various states.
Yeah. Well, every year what happens on the policy side we have several committees. It may be transportation, it may be legal, it may be businesses, various issues that we work with, youth, health, and members from across the country will propose legislation that may have a nationwide impact.
Okay.
So this year, one of the things that I proposed dealt with the Panama Canal expansion and the potential economic impact that would have across the country, and to ensure that African Americans are in the process from beginning to end. That's from fortifying all of the ports across the country, from container management, if you're in that business, from all the economic engine that's going to be driven by the expansion of the Panama Canal. So we had some other stuff dealing with stand your ground law that all of the legislators across the country are coming together on. So there's different policy issues that we address at these conferences every year, and so this year was no different. We had about 25 or 30 pieces of resolutions that we did at the conference.
And so, Representative Camper, what happens after you all come together, you discuss and debate these resolutions? What happens? Are they voted on, and then you move on into your various states?
It goes through a committee process similar to what we do here doing our state houses. We have committees and I'm vice chair of Labor and Veterans Affairs. So whichever committee you're assigned to and whichever piece of resolution is assigned to your committee, those committees meet So that's what we're doing during the day when we're here. So we meet and we vote on, we debate, we talk about, the good, the bad, and all that. Once they're voted on, the last day we adopt them. So we adopt all of them as they move through the committee, and they come to the big general session with the entire body meet. We vote on those resolutions. Once those resolutions are ratified by the body, National would then take those resolutions and make sure every agency within the federal government that is impacted by those resolutions gets a copy of the resolution. A copy goes to the White House, a copy goes to the Congressional Black Caucus, a copy goes to all of the committee chairs in both the House and the Senate at the federal level, and any other organization, advocacy group that can be impacted by the ratification of these bills. All of them get a copy. Last year, I dealt with the impact of the TARP had on minority owned car dealerships. Mm-hmm. It was like some 18 different agencies got that resolution. And so I followed up to meet with them, so the individual will then follow up with the various agencies to make sure that they're doing something about it, that they're taking whatever it is we're asking them to do, and just kind of following it through from there.
Well, I think that has a heck of an impact, because when you think about the number of people in your organization and the number of people that are represented, by the members of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, I would think that elected officials on the federal level or whatever level will take notice to those resolutions.
They do. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. The question I was going to ask is, do you think that it's impactful, that it has an impact?
It does have, because last year what we did, and we will probably do again this year, is if there's a resolution that we pass, for instance, dealing with, let's just say, the Affordable Care or the Medicaid expansion.
Okay.
And that goes to, at the federal level, to all the agencies, and it goes through all the different committee members. Then we will converge on Washington as a group. So you'll have legislators from all across the country coming together to go to Congress to lobby our very own congressmen and senators about the importance of what it is we ratify. So yeah, it is very impactful, and they do listen.
Well, I know as a part of the news conference, President Joe Armstrong, mentioned that the conference coming to Memphis was probably going to have a heck of an economic impact on the bottom line. So we were so...
Yeah. But it was good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because, one of the things Speaker Pro Tem Lois Derrick talked about was, when you have these conferences, what economic impact are you going to have on that community that you were just in? What are you going to leave? What memorable marks are you going to leave on that community? So we were able to leave a very memorable mark with respect to, like I said, what we did with the kids, but also the economic impact of the money that we spent in Memphis.
Let me just say,
small businesses that we visited, and just on and on.
And that's what I was about to say, Representative Camper. My full disclosure, my firm, the Carter Malone Group, was a local event planner. Worked with you and your host committee on this event, and a number of minority and women-owned businesses benefited from this conference. Local minority and women-owned businesses benefited from this conference, and I have to say that you guys were very conscious of that, and made a point of looking at firms and bringing firms to the table. And I have to agree with you in terms of, we, State Representative Lois D. Berry, God knows we miss her. But let me just say, her presence was felt immensely last week. Was it not, Representative?
It really was. The spirit was with us, because, like I said, with the youth, she was adamant about reaching out to, when she pointed me to chair that, because Lois was the national chair for the conference.
Right.
So she appointed me to head up the youth committee that was going to put this thing together. And she told me, I want you to include as many children from as a diverse way possible. That's urban, that's rural, that's traditional, that's optional, that's charter, that's private, that's, everything across the board, as many kids as we possibly can to be there. We did that. And of course, we unveiled the prayer breakfast. Every year we have a prayer breakfast where we look in past year any members who have passed and we recognize them. Well, this year, that breakfast was named after Speaker Pro Tem Lord Sevier. So we unveiled that, and that was just so powerful. Oh God,
it was powerful. It was so powerful.
We had a room for all the local people that wanted to be there, and then all the national people that flew in just for that, because it was being unveiled in her name. And I mean, her presence was definitely there throughout the whole thing.
And let me just say that, Reverend Keith Norman, he did. She wanted him. He was there. You made sure of it. And let me just say, he just shut the house down in her honor.
It was phenomenal. And people are still calling saying, I never knew Lord's name was in the Bible. So when he gave that passage and he said that, I felt like he brought the presence of the Lord.
He did. He did.
It was just phenomenal. God, it was great. Absolutely.
Well, so we're just so happy that it was here in Memphis, and I know that's what Speaker Pro Tem wanted, and you all supported that. And
the Noble Women's Breakfast, the last morning, I mean, we closed it out. That was so great. Lynn Whitfield, she was just awesome.
She was amazing. And I said, okay, is she going to sing? But when she did the poetry to the music, Representative Camper, everybody wanted to sway like 60-year-old Lynn Whitfield.
It was like, I would never see that corn the same way again. It was good.
Well, congratulations to you, because you did do an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Specifically,
well, I'm the first vice president for Noble Women, and with it being in Memphis, they appointed me to be the guide that day. So I was pretty proud to do that.
It was awesome. It was awesome all the way around, and then just so proud to be able to have the world share with National Black Caucus of State Legislators the closing plenary.
That's the other thing. The closing plenary is always on C-SPAN every year.
Mm-hmm.
And so, coming out of Nobel, everybody was, still high energy. And going into the closing plenary with Roland Martin, Roland's going to tell you like it is. He's straightforward. That was very good. I was kind of in and out on that because we was winding down and I was finding people and doing the run around kind of stuff. But I heard it was one of the most engaging ones that this organization has had in a long time too.
It was engaging.
That was very good.
Roland Martin was an excellent moderator. You had Tamika Mallory. You had I think Doug Blackman, and you had Kim, I think Macbeth, if I'm not mistaken, if that's her last name, who is with the Trayvon Martin Foundation. I mean, it was, and you had some legislators in there a little hot under the collar about some of the things that were being asked of them or being stated. And I mean, it was some back and forth, which was really good. Really good TV, but really good dialogue for community action and advocacy.
Absolutely. And the good thing about that, is it's going to empower some people to do something, get off the couch or to be involved. And, it may be that one thing that sparked that one piece of something in somebody that propels them or put them on a trajectory to do something. That was I thought it was good that we ended on that note and we started with the youth on that note, because there's some kids out there now who are saying, I never thought about this as a career, but it's something I'm very interested in. I never looked at it like that when they're passing those laws that they think about. So now I want to be involved. So, from beginning to end, somebody's life has taken off in a trajectory that's just going to be phenomenal.
Well, thank you so much, Representative Camper, for all that you do. And we're going to have you come back on Dialogue with Deidre. It'll probably be, you'll have to call in because you'll be in session relatively soon, but we know we'll get you on the set at some point after you're out of session. And we might just tape an interview with you when you're back in session and run it on the show. But thank you so much for all you do for our community. And thank you for being on Dialogue with Deidre today, because I know you're in Nashville working hard for the people.
Yeah, we're trying to get the our legislative agenda ready for the coming year and some stuff we're trying to get done. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. Thank you all, because you all did an awesome job too now.
Thank you,
as the local planners. You all kept us on course with the goals of the organization and with the goals Lord had. So, I mean, hats off to you all too.
Thank you, Representative, and you have a good rest of your day, and we'll have you back on Dialogue with Deidre. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You've been watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll come back in a moment, and we will share with you a news conference that kicked off that National Black Caucus of State Legislators event, where you'll get an opportunity to hear from President Joe Armstrong and other members in leadership of the organization. And let's kind of set you up for what took place last week right here in Memphis. You're watching Dialogue with Deidre.
This past year, we all learned the statistics are true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience child abuse, usually at the hands of someone they know. Child abuse happens every day. Learn the signs and take action, because keeping a child safe is everybody's business. Make a difference. Visit safehorizon.org to find out more. Safe Horizon, moving victims of violence from crisis to confidence.
Did you know that every 34 seconds someone has a heart attack? Every 40 seconds someone has a stroke? But it doesn't have to be that way. Every day there's hope. Join me and the American Heart Association and get serious about your heart and your health. If you're doing nothing, do something. If you're doing something, do more. Find healthy living solutions from the American Heart Association's My Heart, My Life. It's that simple.
I'm Dominique Dawes. How do you start your day? I always start with a healthy breakfast. Whether you're practicing for a game or studying for a test, eating breakfast every day can improve your concentration and help you perform your best. Kids who eat a healthy breakfast have more energy to work hard and play hard. That's why you should check out your school's breakfast program. It's for everyone, so make sure you energize your day. Eat school breakfast.
Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
No, Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
Taylor Brown is our community drugstore.
No hassle transfer, auto refills, as well as a $4 generic program. Taylor Brown offers deliveries to all customers, including care homes, senior citizens, and hospice.
Taylor Brown accepts Express Scripts, Humana, Cigna, Medco, TennCare, and more.
And remember, it is by us, for us.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
This is Arm Candy, and on behalf of MUTV1, we would like to wish you a happy holiday and many more to come. Stay beautiful.
To Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. We just had a great 20-minute conversation, dialogue with State Representative Karen Camper. She talked about the impact that the National Black Caucus of State Legislators had on this economy and the impact that the policies that they voted on and they will advance in 2014 could potentially have on communities across this country. I wanted to share with you the opening news conference that took place at the Peabody Hotel, where we had media from across Shelby County that participated, and even a lot of media from across the country picked up on what was happening right here in Memphis. Eddie, would you run that news conference for me, please? Well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joe Armstrong, President of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, a native of Knoxville, Tennessee, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the NBCSL 37th Annual Legislative Conference. I want to thank you for joining us here today. As you can imagine, we are certainly excited about this conference as we kick off our 3-day conference here in Memphis, Tennessee. The National Black Caucus of State Legislators is the nation's largest nonpartisan association of black legislators. NBCSL, as we get ready to discuss policy issues and issues that affect each and every one of us through our life and every one of our constituents. If you are not familiar with our organization, you will learn no doubt by the end of this press conference, and certainly you'll know about us by the end of this conference that will be ending on Saturday. As I stated, the National Black Caucus of State Legislators is an association representing over 600 legislators across our country, from the Virgin Islands and the District of Columbia. We not only serve, our legislators lead. We can be found in leadership positions all across this country. At the beginning of the 2013 legislative session, a total of 104 NBCSL members were in positions of leadership in 28 states. 44 NBCSL members were in 12 states were in positions that hold minority and majority positions. 17 states were in positions of leadership while in minority parties. Furthermore, a majority of the members of the Congressional Black Caucus are former members of the NBCSL, and also the President Barack Obama, is a former member of ours. NBCSL represents over 50 million constituents across this country of different racial and ethnic backgrounds. We advocate not only for minorities, but we advocate for the underserved community. In other words, we provide a voice for the voiceless. And as state legislators, our ears are to the ground and we feel the pulse of our district and our communities. You may have heard that the CBC was the conscience of Congress. Well, NBCSL is the soul of the State House. We focus on improving lives of the underserved, and this year's policy platforms have focused on protecting constitutional rights for all Americans, pushing for increased access to health care, education, and improving and creating jobs in the 21st century. Our platform is based on our resolutions, which are debated throughout our national conference. I will yield to our President-elect from the great state of Maryland, Senator Catherine Pugh, to tell you a little more about this process. And NBCSL's mission is simple. We educate our legislators so they are better informed, and when they vote, they're better equipped to craft legislation. One of the ways that we educate our members is through our policy symposiums held throughout the year and our annual legislative conference. And our annual legislative conference is the pinnacle event and for legislators from all over the country to come and talk about the most pressing issues of our time. Thought leaders, political experts, labor leaders, and corporate members will also be in attendance at this great conference. NBCSL boasts a membership of over 60 corporate members, associations, and other partners. NBCSL Corporate Roundtable Board is just one example of partnerships that NBCSL has with stakeholders across this country. It is through these collaborative relationships that we continue to do our work. Knowing that all politics are local, we hold this conference in different cities, in different states across the country. Last year, we convened in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. The year before in Chicago, Illinois. But this year, through the hard work of the late Lois D. Berry, our 5th president of our organization, and also the mayor of Memphis, Mayor A.C. Ward, along with the chair of the Tennessee Black Caucus, State Representative Larry Miller, we brought this conference home to Tennessee and here in Memphis, the heart of the South. So here to talk about a little bit more about our conference is one of our own conference chairs. And we have two conference chairs this year, Representative Brenda Gilmore of Nashville, Tennessee, and Senator Reggie Tate of Memphis. And now I'm going to bring on Representative Gilmore to bring greetings from the state of Tennessee. Representative Gilmore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to officially welcome my fellow state elected officials from across the country to the 37th Annual Conference of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. If I haven't said it before, I'll say it again. Welcome to Memphis and welcome to Tennessee. As a member of the host committee, I represent the great city of Nashville, and it is with great pride that I welcome you to our state. We all love Memphis and Shelby County, Tennessee. While we shall convene and network over the next few days, we shall also remember our founding member, the late State Representative Lois M. DeBerry. She wanted us to bring the conference to her hometown. And if you know Lois, she was not one to be disappointed. Representative DeBerry loved Memphis, and she did not live long enough to see all that we have prepared for our members. But I know that she would be very proud of the conference that we have planned for each of you. She was a big part of this organization and served as National Conference Chair, along with myself and Senator Reginald Tate. And each part of this conference has a little bit of Lois. We will also pay tribute to her on Friday morning at the Lois M. DeBerry Prayer Breakfast and Memorial Service. Here in Memphis, we will focus on public policy, but we will also show our Southern hospitality by treating our members to the sound of Tennessee music through entertainers such as C.C. Winan, the Barcades, and Kirk Whalen at various events throughout the city, as well as a visit to Stack's Museum of Music. Furthermore, this is not the first time our members have convened in the Bluff City. About 30 years ago, we met and was visited by our conference at the Democratic presidential nomination, including the Reverend Jesse Jackson. We were a group of individuals who were influenced then, and we still are a group of influence. President Armstrong, Tennessee Black Caucus Chairman Representative Larry Miller, and our host committee have spent many, many hours over the past year preparing for this great event. And we are proud of the experience we know our members will have at this conference, and we're glad that it's finally here. Enjoy your time here in Memphis, and we look forward to hosting you again. And now, at this time, I am proud to bring to you President-elect Catherine Pugh from the great state of Maryland.
First, let me just say thank you, Tennessee. Thank you for having us here. We're really excited. I am Senator Pugh, President-elect from the state of Maryland. I am so glad to be here in Memphis and at this national conference. We don't think we could have selected a better place to be and a better team to bring us here. Let me just say I serve as President-elect, and in that capacity, what I do is manage the organization's policy solutions and the entire process. Our policy resolutions are created to address social issues that are happening not just here in Tennessee, but in states across the country. These resolutions identify a problem or an issue that the state is having or states across the country are having, and what we do is we debate those issues and those policies, and we bring forth resolutions that solve those issues and answer the problems that have been created or being discussed in various states. Taken as a whole, resolutions embody the core value of this organization. It is our hope that through passing relevant policy resolutions that we can improve the lives of our constituents, including the nation's most underrepresented and underserved. Most of our policy discussions occur during the policy committee sessions. The topics of these sessions often support our policy resolutions and focus on solutions that are immediate, practical, and sustainable. 6 policy resolution panels consist of congressional and state legislators, corporate labor, and nonprofit advocacy partners, and subject matter policy experts. Of these 6 panels, they discuss timely issues discussed in the news today, such as you all well have heard, the Affordable Care Act. I always tell folks, let's call it what it is. It is the Affordable Care Act. We happen to have a president who understands how important national health care is, and people keep confusing it with whether it's Obamacare. It is the Affordable Care Act, and that's what we prefer to hear it called. Other panels will highlight salient issues affecting our communities, such as leveraging the powers of our historical Black colleges and institutions. As you can see, we discuss these topics through a particular lens, one that is focused on improving the lives of our citizens. Through these issues we discuss are as diverse as our constituency. They have a common thread, and each affect the lives of our constituents daily. NBCSL has always been focused on policy actions, and upon leaving these sessions, our lawmakers shall be equipped with the best legislative solutions possible. We charge them to take back the discussions and the solutions and the policies that we've passed, take them back to their state houses, and use them as talking points and examples of legislation that should be passed across this country. Each year, our legislators come together. They come together to meet, to talk about the issues that affect their communities, but more importantly, to pass resolutions that address these issues, and to get prepared to take these resolutions back to their state houses. This year is absolutely no different. Our resolutions have real consequences and have created opportunities for justice, equality, and more. Today, you will hear an example of this as we discuss one of the most important issues of our time, voting rights. NBCSL is dedicated to protecting the constitutional rights of all Americans, and guaranteeing the franchising of every citizen is vital. NBCSL has also passed many resolutions aimed at ensuring voting rights for all. With this in mind, NBCSL has created a voting rights toolkit for Black state legislators to use. It contains an example of a newsletter, copy, press releases, and a brief report on voting rights legislation introduced or passed by NBCSL members. We believe that this is the kind of thing that this organization is well equipped to do. Here to talk about that toolkit is Representative Alan Williams of Florida. With that, I will turn it over to Representative Williams, who is our first Vice President. Thank you. It's a big job.
First of all, good morning. It's great to be here, and at least for the next 4 or 5 days in DeBerry, Tennessee. I know we're in Memphis, but I want to call it DeBerry, Tennessee. So if you see me for the next couple of days calling it DeBerry, Tennessee, don't think I'm confused or lost. I am Representative Alan Williams. I come here to Memphis from a state that has made national headlines on its harmful and suppressive voting laws in Florida. It goes without saying that we know all about restrictive policies aimed at imposing unnecessary requirements and impairing one's right to vote. Floridians have had some of the longest lines in history during the presidential election. Most recently, President Barack Obama had already had the concession call from Mitt Romney, but voters in Florida and Miami were determined to make sure that their vote was counted. It was still in line at 3 a.m. As Black state legislators, we know these practices have to stop, and we look to NBCSL for collaboration and leadership as we move forward and continue to guarantee the franchise for each and every voter in this country. And if the state houses are considered the laboratories of democracy, NBCSL is the incubator for all of those issues. And we've always been at the forefront of these policy issues, as Senator Pugh has stated, especially those related to civil and human rights. NBCSL maintains that voting is a human right and is dedicated to protecting it and strengthening it. As our president said, this is a policy priority of NBCSL. And as we say goodbye to one of the world's greatest leaders, Nelson Mandela. We know that his struggle, his fight for human rights and equality is the same fight and struggle and drive that we have as members of this great organization, NBCSL. And so as President-elect Pugh stated, the toolkit is designed for legislators to use in several ways when they go back home. With our members, we will be able to inform constituents of what steps legislators are taking to protect their voting rights, determine what areas of voting rights legislation should be introduced, and to protect voting rights and use templates supplied for press releases and news articles to further galvanize citizen support and interest. My colleague in the Florida legislature, Senator Arthenia Joyner, the incoming Democratic leader, the chair of NBCSL's Law, Justice, and Ethics Committee, led the creation of this project. To date, NBCSL has examined legislation from lawmakers across the 50 states and the District of Columbia, focusing on 6 areas: voting ID laws, voter registration modernization, which includes online voter registration, same-day registration, portable registration, statewide voter databases, and increased voter technology. In short, we cannot continue to vote in a typewriter world using iPad technology. And we also will focus on redistricting reform, felony disenfranchisement, and advancement in voter technology. This report will be fully unveiled during this year's annual legislative conference right here in DeBary, Tennessee, and officially disseminated in January. It is our hope, at the direction of our President, Joe Armstrong, that our members will return to the states such as Tennessee and increase access at the ballot box. Each state has experienced different attacks on voting rights. As stated before, Florida has some of the most egregious examples of dangerous legislation. Representative Larry Miller continues to lead Tennessee Legislative Black Caucus and the charge to address these policies. I now call him up to discuss in detail. Chairman Miller.
Thank you, Representative Williams. Senator Pugh, welcome to you and the other NBCSL members to Memphis and to Tennessee. Representative Williams has shared NBCSL's most recent work on voting rights and expanding access to the ballot box. Now I would like to tell you what we have been doing on the ground in Tennessee. If you're part of Memphis media, then I don't have to share with you the challenges that we've had in the state of Tennessee because of basically tragedies of the voter rights, voter ID laws that was passed, which I certainly voted against that, as well as my caucus members. In 2011, Tennessee legislators changed state law requiring each voter to present one form of identification that bears the names and photographed voter IDs that are permissible, issued by the state of Tennessee by the Department of Safety, United States passport, and United States military ID only. Citizens across the state were appalled by this form of voter suppression. The city of Memphis and 2 voters from the city filed a lawsuit against the state of Tennessee, arguing that the ID requirement was an unfair burden, unduly affecting the poor, seniors, and minorities. The Memphis branch of NAACP, Baptist Ministers Association, SCLC, and other organizations locally supported the city of Memphis lawsuit. Memphis tested the law by stating that photo library cards could be admissible to use for voting. The Tennessee Supreme Court ruled against Memphis and upheld the state law, not allowing voters to use their photo library card. The state type of voter suppression is months ago and is to plan and simple to make harder for minorities, seniors, and young people to exercise the constitutional right that we in this country hold sacred, the right to participate in a democratic process by casting a ballot. The National Black Caucus of State Legislators is an organization committed to trying to fix the problem that was created by those who want to turn back the clock and take away our right to have a voice in the voting booth. As part of this year's conference, we will continue to discuss solutions to resolving the blatant attack on what surely is a civil rights issue. With that, I would like to turn it back over to President Joe Armstrong.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Pugh and Representative Gilmore, Miller, and Williams. At this time, we want to open it up for questions, any questions you might have at this point. In the meantime, on our pre-registration, we had over 381 participants that pre-registered for our conference. We're expecting totals to reach around 500 people, that not counting people that are coming in for a day or whatever. This certainly is going to be a great economic impact on Memphis, especially at Christmas time, because our members do shop. And so certainly I know that that was a question by Representative Ward. Are we going to give them time to get out into the community? And certainly in our schedule, we always make time during the conference to allow our members to get out into the communities, to shop, to visit, to go to the different attractions. And certainly Memphis has a lot to offer. And so we have been working with the local PR firm of Carter Malone, who's done a fantastic job as being our local event planner here. Peabody has been fantastic. Both the city, county mayors, I couldn't say any more about how cooperative they've been. The Memphis Visitors Bureau, and just Memphis is just a great destination.
Did you know that every 34 seconds someone has a heart attack? Every 40 seconds someone has a stroke. But it doesn't have to be that way. Every day there's hope. Join me and the American Heart Association and get serious about your heart and your health. If you're doing nothing, do something. If you're doing something, do more. Find healthy living solutions from the American Heart Association's My Heart, My Life. It's that simple.
I'm Dominique Dawes. How do you start your day? I always start with a healthy breakfast. Whether you're practicing for a game or studying for a test, eating breakfast every day can improve your concentration and help you perform your best. Kids who eat a healthy breakfast have more energy to work hard and play hard. That's why you should check out your school's breakfast program. It's for everyone, so make sure you energize your day. Eat school breakfast.
The Carter Malone Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Carter Malone Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Carter Malone Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
This is Arm Candy, and on behalf of MUTV1, we would like to wish you a happy holiday and many more to come. Stay beautiful.
To Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. I hope you enjoyed the first 45 minutes or so, 50 minutes of our show where we were talking about the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. They were in Memphis at the Peabody Hotel. I have a few minutes left, and what I'd like to share with you is BlueCare, a subsidiary of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, is starting a program where they are trying to tackle the issue of healthcare disparities in the state of Tennessee. I had an opportunity to speak with Rafiele Freeman, who is the manager of quality for BlueCare, about this program, and she's going to be on our screen in a few moments. Eddie's going to run the tape, but I want to share something with you. What they're really trying to do is get volunteers to educate people in their various churches on how important it is to have a checkup annually. African American women are 34% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, and the reason that is because they won't go and get their annual mammogram, and they won't do their monthly breast exams to make sure that there are no knots there. So we're dying overwhelmingly because we won't do what we need to do, and we have to do better. So Eddie, if you'd run that tape real quick and listen to what Rafiele Freeman has to say about what BlueCare is doing, and we'll close out after that. Good afternoon, Rafiele.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to Dialogue with Deidre.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, talk to me about what Blue Cross Blue Shield is doing in terms of targeting minorities in the state of Tennessee.
Well, in BlueCare, I work for BlueCare Tennessee, and BlueCare is the Medicaid subsidiary of Blue Cross Blue Shield Tennessee. I'm the Quality Improvement Director, and we know that inequities exist across the state and across the nation, and we felt like we had to do something about it. So I formed a disparities panel, and the disparities panel is a statewide panel that includes community experts from across the state. We have members, lots of heavy involvement from Memphis in the Shelby County area, Healthy Memphis Common Table. Also, we have the National Kidney Foundation. We have leaders from the Shelby County Health Department, all of which have come together to help us to do something about the inequities that exist within Tennessee. So it became very, very evident that there was an almost exclusive link between faith and healing. So what better way to reach Tennesseans, regardless of racial and ethnic lines, It's through their pastors.
Exactly.
Tennesseans and people listen to their pastors. They listen to their health ministers. They listen to those people they trust. And we felt like we needed to provide a mechanism so that pastors can begin to talk to their congregations about health care. So we developed the toolkit. It's a compendium of information with easy to understand language. It has information in there on prevention, chronic care needs, behavioral health, chemical dependencies, as well as other resources that's, just to be included.
Well, it sounds like it's very well-rounded. Yeah. And so I think, historically, the church has been the foundation for so much. Yes. So it's a great idea that BlueCare is starting with the faith community.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. And we have about 150 volunteers statewide. We're trying to initially reach out to 1,000 churches. It's been sort of a calling for the people who volunteer.
I hope you've enjoyed the show. Let me hear from you. Post your comments on the Dialogue with Deidre Facebook page, or post your comments about my show on the MUTV1 Facebook page. We want to know what you think about our show. We also want to know who you want to see on the show. We've got some guests coming up in January, after you have the Merry Christmas, the Happy Hanukkah, and definitely the Happy Kwanzaa and Happy New Year, that really will entertain you and inform you. And so we're looking forward to 2014 in a big way here at MUTV1. And, I may even open up a contest on my show where we ask people, since Dr. Hutchinson is so talented and he created his own opening music, that, I may even have a competition. If you want to be real creative, come up with an opening soundtrack for Dialogue with Deidre, be more than happy to entertain those sounds and see which one I like to pick to be the new sound, opening and closing and bump for the Dialogue with Deidre's show. So if you're interested in doing that, then hit me up on Dialogue with Deidre's Facebook page. And then, last but not least, I want you to know that if you are the parent of a young poet, or if you're a young poet, age 18 to 25, then you need to check out the Carter Malone Group Facebook page, because the National Civil Rights Museum is having a contest that you may want to take part in, because you can be a part of their big grand opening event in February. So thank you so much for watching Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone, wishing you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you in 2014. Thanks so much for watching.